So this is going to be my first project I've ever worked on.
But finally, the PR got merged. I was really happy and I was really feeling a little proud of myself.
The awesome part about the fellowship is that you get to meet people from all around the world.
12 weeks of hardcore efforts, fruitful contributions, time commitment, and last but not the least, the passion for learning new things.
Through MLH fellowship, I've got to know a lot of people around me.
I realized through the fellowship, whenever I would sit down and there was a problem that I didn't get, and I would focus and I would Google and I would write things down.
So that allowed me to think from the point of view that I've never really thought before.
Welcome everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me great. Would love to know in the Twitch chat. And welcome to the Summer 2022 MLH Fellowship graduation. My name is Will. I'm one of the program managers here behind the scenes, making sure that you have a fantastic experience this summer. Now, over the next 45 to 60 minutes, we're going to take a look back at the last 12 weeks and reflect on some of the amazing experiences you've had, some of the incredible things that you've done, and generally just celebrate all of the amazing stuff that's happened among all 25 pods. You heard me, 25 pods. Now, for those of you who are new here, the MLH Fellowship is an internship alternative for those looking to start their software engineering career. People get a chance to spend 12 weeks working on real-life projects and learning skills that are used every day in industry. We're going to take a look at some of the different projects that we've been working with this summer, including a number of our open source projects, our biggest partner Solana, who are going to talk to us about all of the cool stuff we've done there with the Web3 space, as well as one of our new programs that we started last year, the production engineering program, which we worked with Meta to run this summer. That's all we've got lined up today, and we've got a little surprise at the end for you as well. I'm curious to see if people can hear, if everything's working. People can hear a little bit of fan noise. That is because it's very hot in the UK, in case you didn't know. Hopefully that has improved. I will try not to sweat too much. Excellent. So, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into open source, the program that we started back in 2020 when the fellowship began. Now, we've got a huge number of projects of varying scope, and we're going to hear from a number of our fellows on the kind of things they've been working on. So let's hear it from one of our fellows.
Okay, and I'm from India. I am from pod 22 Sum 6. Before MLH Fellowship, I was working as project associate in Pravartak Technologies Lab at IIT Madras. There I was responsible for building a website which could let users interact with the Jupyter Notebook applications without really having them to directly interact with it. I've been contributing to open source projects for some time. So I applied for MLH Fellowship because of the reason that how this program is structured. So of course, I really like to contribute to open source projects, and that was the main reason why I wanted to apply to MLH Fellowship. Other than that, because it was like the way it is structured again, that you work with teams, so you work with pods. So I think it's always better to learn in a team than to learn it or do anything alone. So for the fellowship, the project that I was working on included JavaScript. So I had to work with JavaScript and Vue. And before the fellowship, I never worked with JavaScript. So it was like an entirely new programming language and frameworks that I had to learn. One of my very good memory of MLH Fellowship was when my first PR got merged. So that was the first issue that I worked on, and it was a little difficult and challenging. And when finally the PR got merged, I was really happy and I was really feeling a little proud of myself. I was really scared of starting to learn JavaScript, but since I had to use the JavaScript for this project, so my biggest takeaway was that you should not be intimidated by any technology or any new tech or something, because you can always learn it and you can get better with time. So you don't need to feel pressurized to be like an expert from the start. You can learn the basics and you can start contributing to projects or building your own projects. So the takeaway was that you should start if you should not be intimidated, and you should at least start. The moment that I'm most proud of would be, again, that when my first PR got merged in the GitLab. I was really happy that I could actually contribute to such a big project, and it actually got merged and is people are using it now. So yeah, that was the most proudest thing. During the fellowship, I learned a lot of new skills and a lot of new tech stacks as well. So I definitely think that this would help me in my career ahead. Also, since I was contributed to GitLab, I got to learn that how you should work at a large project which has a large code base. So I got to learn that how you should collaborate and how you should work in teams. So I really think these skills are going to help me in my future job or whatever new opportunities I'll be getting. Things that I enjoyed. First thing is when, of course, your peer gets merged. That too in like a project like GitLab. It's a huge thing. You really feel like you did something. So that is what I enjoyed. Other than that, the fun activities that we used to have, that were also very, very interesting and fun.
Excellent. Well, that was really inspiring, especially I love the bit where you mentioned about how you're able to contribute to something meaningful and really get involved despite feeling junior or maybe feeling a bit of an imposter, because trust me, everyone, you definitely can do it, and we're super impressed with what you've achieved. We're going to hear from one of our other open source fellows working on a different project now, and hear kind of what their experience was like and see if we can learn something new. Let's hear it from them.
Part of 22-8. So before MLH fellowship, I was actually doing MLH prep fellowship, and I was participating in hackathons organized by MLH. And right before that, all the hackathons that I was participating in led me into GitHub externship. And so I was working for GitHub externship under Sarover. So I was already working on a crypto-based project. Then I applied for the full fellowship, and that's how I got in. So the way I got to learn about MLH fellowship, it's kind of a long story. The reason being, I got introduced into MLH Spark community around the time that COVID first hit, around 2020, and it was through one of my seniors of college. So I participated in my very first MLH event. That was the local hack week, the first time that they actually did local hack week. So I participated in local hack week, got to know about fellowship, applied in the very first zeros batch, did not get in, and then started participating in hackathons, started leveling myself up till the point I got into the prep fellowship. And essentially from the prep, I got into the full fellowship. So it was essentially my entire acceptance was full of roller coasters. And when I finally got the acceptance, I was actually really happy. I was not expecting to see the acceptance that soon. So it was really fun. I was really happy essentially. It was exhilarating. To mention some of the challenges I've actually faced during MLH fellowship. So I was paired in a pod that was Solana based essentially, and I had the fortune of working with Rust for Solana. So learning Rust, learning Solana, and Anchor for that matter was a very challenging process, because there are not many good tutorials available because it's still in very early development stages. So essentially, my experience towards the first few weeks. But then my maintainer Gage was actually really awesome. He helped me, and he helped the entire pod through whatever questions that we might have, no matter how basic or how weird that they may sound. He tried his level best. So those challenges actually were easier because he was there. So that made the challenges stung quite a lot less. And essentially, once I got the hang of Rust and in the entire Solana ecosystem, it was a smooth sailing from there. So all the non-technical skills that I ended up learning during fellowship, one of them definitely has to be collaboration, because of all the hackathon projects of all the work that I've done, it's usually me alone sitting in front of my laptop coding for hours on it, and I did not really have that collaborative experience ever. Even with a team, say 2 to 4 people, still does not be the actual experience of working in a pod, say of 12 members. So when 12 of all of us were actually just striking it out, so it actually allowed me to have proper communication skills. Essentially, think of the way in which I can make someone else understand my point of view, because I know what I think and I know what I am going through, what my thought process is. But then to get this exactly out, so that certain person who does not have your similar upbringing or similar thought structure could also understand, So that was something that I actually gained in part of the whole collaborative experience. The thing that I'm most proud of during my time through the MLS fellowship would definitely be the skills that I've learned and definitely be the people I've met. So my pod leader, be it my pod mates, I believe that having conversations with them, having one-on-ones with them, learning their perspective and how they tackle their problems, how they think, essentially their thought process, somehow somehow imbibing them inside of me, thinking from their point of view, has actually expanded my point of my horizons actually. So that allowed me to think from the point of view that I've never really thought before, and it actually helped me in that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. And one of the key things I noticed from that, and I'd love to hear in the Twitch chat what your thoughts are. Maybe you could share your best experience from the fellowship. But for me, I really liked how they talked about community and how that's such a, life-changing part of the fellowship. People forget that, your career is important when it comes to technical skills and professional skills, but networking and community and being able to help each other is a really powerful tool set. And I'd highly recommend that you connect with each other on LinkedIn before the end of the graduation. Connect with each other. Feel free to connect with me and the other MLH team, because you never know where you might find yourself later in your career, and you might loop back to some of your pod mates, maybe other fellows in your cohort. Now we're going to hear from another open source fellow on their project. Let us know in the Zoom chat what your favorite highlight is so far. Anyway, let's hear it from them.
I'm from 22.some.6. I am from the United States. Before the fellowship, I was a registered nurse. I worked in the ER in Houston Methodist. I found out from the fellowship from one of my colleagues. He's a software engineer at Microsoft, and he highly recommended that MLH was a really great program to get into if you want to really start off your career. I want to apply the fellowship because I really wanted to work on a societal level in comparison to nursing, where it's more individual. I really want to make a bigger impact on society instead of individual patients. I figured my best way to impact the world is through technology, since technology has been growing at an exponential rate recently. When I got into fellowship, I felt it was kind of surreal, because prior to that, I've been applying to jobs and trying to get other apprenticeships. And I feel like I was at a point of giving up. But as soon as I got that acceptance, I feel like it was really life-changing. Some of the challenges I faced was, so this is going to be my first project I've ever worked on, especially even open source. I think any newcomer coming into open source does have the difficulty of trying to learn the project, read the source code, meet with maintainers. So I think the biggest hurdle was just lack of experience. But throughout the program, as I gained more experience, became more comfortable talking to colleagues and the maintainer, I learned way more than I thought I would ever learn. I enjoyed my pod leader's jokes and antics. it was unexpected. I always thought that sometimes pod leaders or product managers were very strict at times, but Arslan made me feel very welcoming, or my pod leader Arslan made me feel very welcomed. I think the events were very helpful. I wish I was able to see some of the stuff from production engineering. I think the one I liked was the one about the interviews. So learning about how to do an interview and the expectations of a technical interview. I think that helped out a lot. In my first pull request, I feel like I'm making a contribution, and I've never made a contribution to a project before. This was very overwhelming, but also very exciting at the same time, knowing that the first one kind of got rejected because of all the errors, and I never expected so many errors could happen. But then afterwards, after editing just small bits of code, it passed and I got really good feedback, and it made me really want to contribute more to future projects. The one thing I was most proud of, even though it didn't go through, is that I was able to get an interview with Microsoft. I went through the interview. I don't think I would have gotten it without the MLH, program on my resume. My biggest takeaway from the fellowship was that you're not alone. No matter how little you think you know, there's someone out there that will help you, or actually just may know less than you. So I think just talking to people and asking them questions or sharing your story will be really beneficial in your career or just in general, life in general, because you really don't know what another person is thinking until you talk to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. A key thing I noticed there, and if you haven't already, make sure the MLH Fellowship is on your resume. It's such a valuable piece of experience. And like we just heard from Ross, putting the fellowship on, right, can really help make a difference. And at the beginning, right, you're making real contributions to real code bases. That's not something that anyone just does. So you should definitely mention that on your resume as well as your LinkedIn profile. Now, we're going to hear from our Solana program. So we had, I want to say, someone let me know in the chat, but we had quite a few fellows working on Web3 and blockchain with our Solana program, where they got to learn all about the world of Web3, everything involved there, and build some really cool apps. Now, or dApps if you want to be, or dApps, is that the technical term? Let me know in the chat. However, a lot of these fellows had never touched blockchain or Web3 before they'd even done the fellowship, being a little bit intimidated by the concept of all these lots of new words, but let's hear about all the cool things they've done in the last 12 weeks. It's pretty cool.
Fellowship, like I was in my second year, I was preparing for Microsoft Engage, and basically I was more into Android part, but through the fellowship I got to explore Solana because my project was based on it. When the first time when I heard about MLH was back in December, like 2021. One of my friend was applying, and at that time I kind of just went through the form and filled it. For prep I applied, but I didn't get it. But at that time I kind of found something really interesting. Like in the rejection mail, they gave a really good feedback on why they rejected me, and then I worked on that part, and I reapplied again for the fellowship this summer, and I got in. So I can say that mail was kind of a really good point by the MLH site because it really helped me. I was really happy because I guess the mail came one day before Eid for me, Ramzan Eid, and I was really happy when I saw the mail. I was preparing for the festival, and I gotten the mail, and it was really, really so amazing. So while starting out, I was a little bit new to the whole Solana system, but I think so with the help of the maintainers and my project mates itself, I overcome it. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that was it, because they suggested me really great resources and were always available if I had any doubts. Also, there are people who can help you in your technical doubts, for your technical doubts, I guess. For me, it was Anurag, so that also helped me with any doubts I was having. During the fellowship, I like the stand-ups, the retrospective, game day, anything. Like anytime we have a meeting, I always enjoy it. I try to use any video filters I can to make the meeting more interesting, talk about the stuff I faced, or anything that I have been having, and all the fellows sometimes pitch in with their ideas and any thoughts that they have. And my pod leader Aksh is also so amazing. He always has some solution or always guides me whenever I'm stuck. Hackathon week that we had, like the first time, like I didn't knew anyone, and the teammates that I had were really amazing, and we were doing some last work hackathon work. So that was a really amazing memory because we were stuck a lot, and we somehow made the project in the end to work, and that was really an amazing moment. And the second thing I would say was a game day where pod 11 joined us. It was, I guess, Jyoti's pod, and that was a really good day because we played this game, and it was really frustrating because I was losing a lot, and but still it was so fun. Everyone, even Jyoti and Pablo, and everyone from there, from the other pod were so amazing. So that is also a good memory I have of the fellowship. Through MLH fellowship, I've got to know a lot of people around me. I've made really great connections, and I've also learned how projects work, real world projects work, like even starting from the project tracker or the stand up or the retrospective. I've tried to use all these aspects somewhere or the other in my other projects that I've been working on, or in my own community itself. I try to use the ideas from the game day or the stand up points that we have. So it is actually really helpful for me also and the community itself. And talking about the technical aspect and the project aspect, I got to learn that you have to respect people's time, and like there has to be really structured way when you work. You can't put pressure on people, and if you give them the if you respect their time, then you all their work also increases, the work updates also increases. So that's one more thing that I learned from the fellowship.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Wow, a lot to unpack there. But first, let's hear from another Solana fellow and we'll go from there.
Everyone, my name is Dheeraj Chauhan. I'm third year CS student from the pod 22.some.12, and I'm from India. What was I doing before fellowship? I was going through a lot of stuff. I was in my second year of college, so I was exploring new technologies while trying my best to get a place where I can use those technologies and use that knowledge at some places. So I was working at a internship, but I was part of MLH community already, and I knew that if I can spend some more time towards a technology which I like, which was Solana blockchain at that time, maybe I can get a chance to become a MLH fellow, which I've been trying from a long time. So that was that was me, what I was doing before the fellowship. So how did I found out about fellowship? So it was not directly via the MLH people. I guess I was on the LinkedIn, got some post about that. Okay, there is something called fellowship. And as a beginner, I just directly applied for it without thinking twice and just wrote the weirdest answers as possible there. But slowly, I got to know about the MLH community itself, the hacker community, and then got involved in the community and tried my best to contribute and learn at the same time. And slowly, I applied again, got rejected. But after that, when I got the experience of what MLH is and what the community needs as a fellow, I applied again for the summer and I got into. So the feeling I got, so I was basically just sitting and eating food while having a call with my friend, and I just suddenly shout, "Oh, I got it!" And the friend was like, "Okay, wait, what?" I was like, "Oh, I got it, I got it!" And I was just dancing, and I was not. I just removed the earphones also, and the person I guess was asking again, "What happened? What happened?" I'm just dancing, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I got into the fellowship, and yeah, after that, I took some time to explain my parents that, okay, what have I got into? So that was one thing, but yeah, it was pretty exciting because it's like the thing which you try for a long time, and not just getting into was not just part of that. Okay, I would be a fellow. There was also something that being part of the community and then getting contributing to the community and then directly connecting with the community via the platform like fellowship. That was a really great experience. The I would say that the moments that I enjoy were being part of um, something, as I already said, being part of the community which I have been already interested in, and being part of a team which totally maintains a work culture, have a proper way to managing acing tasks rather than constantly taking meets irrespective of not respecting the time zones. And last was that or being organized as much as possible, which also made the project and the fellowship go really smooth. And the maintainers and the pod leader were also impressed by us. And other than the technical side, I would say the most part which I enjoy, one of the part which I enjoyed was playing on the retrospective day in the game nights. The technical skills that I learned were going deep into Solana and learning more about concepts like program derived address, and also being great at Anchor, which I believe is a major part when you're developing on Solana using the framework. MLH has been already helping me from before the fellowship also, while participating in a hackathon or being in the hacker community was always helpful. And the fellowship was, again, it was like another next uh, step for me to get help and basically for my career itself. Having additional events, making sure that there is not just one side of the development, like not just having the technical development, I believe soft skills were also important, and MLH did take care of it. Um, Along with that, again, fellowship did make sure that the learning is the important factor rather than just completing the work like a normal internship, the way it works. And that's why I think it's considered as a fellowship.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Like you just said, and I mean, all of you should take this, in as well. You've all learned how to work in multiple time zones. That is an incredibly useful skill in our modern age where everything is remote. Learning how to work with people all over the world is such a valuable skill. And on top of that, learning how to deal with rejection when you aren't successful the first time, whether that's because your pull request didn't get approved or you didn't get the application for let's say the fellowship approved, using that feedback and building and improving yourself is such an incredible thing to see. And I really value the people who can, do that. And if you're still trying to figure that out, trust me, once you figure it out, you're going to be a superhero. Now, on top of that, the events. Remember that you went to all of those events, whether that was cracking the coding interview, whether that was events with your partners or projects, whatever they were, remember the things you learned from those. They may seem distant now, but trust me, a lot of that will be very valuable going forward. Let's hear from one of our other Solana fellows on their experience getting started with blockchain for the first time. Let's hear it from them.
Ahmed Khan, and I am a engineering student based in New Delhi, and I am a pod member of 22.10. Prior to MLH fellowship, I was exploring a lot of fields in the world of computer science, like solving problems on various coding platforms like LeetCode and InterviewBit. And prior to this, I'm pretty passionate when it comes to web development. I basically, most of the time, I spend a lot of time making various projects in front end. I love using React framework, and I use it quite often. I just keep on practicing, building up new things, making projects, and yeah, I keep on solving problems daily on the various coding platforms like LeetCode and InterviewBit. Some of my friends posted a lot of stuff regarding the MLH fellowship, be it acceptance letter, be it rejection letter. So that's how I found out, okay, there's a thing known as MLH fellowship. And once I got to know about that, I browsed their official website, and I completely looked at their curriculum. And I found out that they have a lot of big companies that they are currently having a partnership with. So I was pretty much excited. Ever since then, I wanted to be a part of the fellowship. I applied for it, I had a great project, gave my interviews, and finally I'm here and feels good. The fellowship was a prime target for me. I was chasing the MLH fellowship since past 2 years. I just when I got the acceptance letter, when they say congratulations, you're going to be an MLH fellow. When I saw that, I was pretty ecstatic. I was pretty much excited. I was really looking forward to the amazing things that I'm gonna face in the future, and I just felt so happy. In the start of my fellowship, when I got to know that I would be working under the Solana labs, so my main tech stack that I would be using in the fellowship was Rust, and basically it was everything entirely in Web3. So prior to this, I didn't do much in Web3 because I was completely focused on Web2. So it was a big transition phase for me. I was a bit nervous regarding that in the starting phase. That was the biggest challenge because I had to get myself familiarized with the various tech stacks that I hadn't used earlier. So thankfully, with the support of my pod mates, with my pod leader and the maintainers with whom I would be working on, they supported me a lot. They provided me an ample amount of resources. In the fellowship, in the very first week, like on the very first day when my pod leader introduced us, like how the curriculum would go in the entire fellowship, he showed us one thing, that in the very first week, we would be having an orientation hackathon. So the projects you would be working upon, you would be building up a project that uses the tech stack that you would be using. So like all of my podmates were a bit intimidated, and they found it a big challenge because there were many who hadn't used the tech stacks like previously. So it was a bit pressurizing, and I in the very first week to use new tech stacks that we haven't used before. But with the teamwork, we did a lot of efforts, shared a lot of resources with each other, learned a lot, and finally we made a project in the nick of time. It was some effort, and I enjoyed it a lot. That was a very tremendous phase, and I saw myself growing up a lot. So that was pretty amazing. In the fellowship, when it comes to learning the technical aspects, I'm myself getting familiarized with the Anchor framework, development in Solana, and brushing up my Git and GitHub concepts to a lot of extents. Because when you work upon real life project, so it's very important for you to be a kind of master in Git and GitHub. So I use it quite often when it came to working upon my projects, made PR, addressed the changes, rebased it, so it enhanced my Git and GitHub concepts very much. The biggest thing that I have achieved in the fellowship is successfully working up with the tech stack that I wasn't familiar before. Like, as I mentioned, I was a bit nervous in the starting phase that I would be using Web3 a lot. I would be using Anchor and Rust a lot. But as the time passed, I practiced it more and more and took up the issues pretty boldly, and it helped me a lot. And I solved a lot of issues. I made my PRs on time, made a great orientation hackathon project along with my teammates, and it was quite successful. And this is the thing that I'm proud of, that I took the challenges and I almost fulfilled them. So yeah, this is my biggest achievement in fellowship.
Practice makes perfect. Honestly, when you're learning new stuff, it can be intimidating, it can be scary, but practice is what makes it become second nature and become very natural. And to think over 12 weeks, just practicing for 12 weeks is enough to make it almost second nature is incredible. Let's hear from our final Solana fellow on their experiences and hear a little bit more about what Solana is all about. Let's hear it from them.
Straight from pod 22.some.11. People generally call me as Harry. I'm coming computer science undergrad from India, and it's truly an honor to be present here as a fellow. First and foremost, without a doubt, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you to finally make it up till here. 12 weeks of hardcore efforts, fruitful contributions, time commitment, and last but not the least, the passion for learning new things. So talking about MLH Fellowship, this was not my first time getting associated with MLH. I have been a constant follower of MLH for its well-renowned hackathons, events it's been conducting over the years. It was the time when our semester and examinations were nearing. I got to know about MLH Fellowship from one of my college seniors who had completed the fellowship in summer. As soon as I got to know about it, I researched about it, got to know about the day-to-day activities happening in the fellowship, which truly motivated me from inside to apply for the fellowship. I looked upon MLH Fellowship as an opportunity where I'd get to work with amazing organizations, upskill my knowledge, and bond with engineers and developers from around the world, and foremost be a part of the friendly developer community of MLH. Being into the world of open source from a quite long time, I found the work MLH have been doing as inspirational and something which I would like to devote my time for. So what was next? I applied for it and got selected. My happiness had no limits. Believe me, it had no limits the day I got the acceptance mail. I was super excited to embark this transformational journey of 12 weeks with MLH. Throughout this 12 weeks of fellowship, I overcame my inhibition of working with scary code bases and tech stacks I was completely unaware of. Being in fellowship, I realized the impact a supportive community like MLH could have on one's career. Also, not to forget the fact and that throughout my tenure in fellowship, whomsoever I connected were so charismatic, helpful, and amazing, be it the pod mates, pod leader, mentors, the maintainers, our other fellows, and the great team of MLH, of course, working in the backend. I love the fact how my pod mates were ever ready to give a helping hand. Our pod leader Jyoti, the mentors went up and beyond to tackle our issues and make the summer fellowship a memorable one for us. One of the things I was personally scared of was working with a completely new tech stack and the area of blockchain, because I was a completely noob in the same. But seeing my pod mates so pumped up and the support allowed me to get out of my comfort zone and given the best out of me that was possible. Talking about one of the most favorite memories and the one which might make me emotional as well in the coming days would be the gaming sessions we had as a cross-sport activity, and of course the show and tells. I'm thankful to the people I've interacted with during my tenure for being awesome personalities, and I look forward to cherish our friendships even after the fellowship ends. I honestly could instill my trust in these peoples, and I believe that all of the fellows would surely make a productive impact in the tech world. Out of everything, I'm thankful to MLH for coming up with such an opportunity where not only people get to learn, contribute, connect, but also get industrial specific knowledge of software world. The pair programming sessions, the reviews on PRs from our maintainers have taught us how not to miss out on the smallest of the corner cases. One thing which I would like to convey is believe in yourself. Whatever happens, believe in yourself, believe in the infinite potential you hold inside you. Because the only limitations you have are the ones which are set by yourself. So in the end, I would like to congratulate all of you. Keep rising, keep contributing, keep learning, and as we say, have a happy hacking. Thank you.
Those are some really powerful words, and I hope that those of you watching can really resonate with them. I'm also loving hearing all the stories that you're mentioning in the Twitch chat. Someone mentioned that the fellowship helped them get over imposter syndrome, which is a really powerful thing. If you've got other stories or cool memories, do share them with us, as I'd love to hear what your last 12 weeks has been like. And if you're part of the B cohort, I think that's what we're calling it, the summer B cohort, where still got another 3 weeks. Share about your experiences. I'd love to hear what you've got up to so far, and we're going to hear a little bit more about you later when you get into your last 3 weeks. Anywho, let's round up our conversation about Solana by hearing from one of our pod leaders, because at the end of the day, the pod leaders help make all of this a reality, and it would not be possible without them. Let's hear from one of them.
I'm a pod leader for the pod 22.some.10. I live in India, and I was an MLH fellow back in 2020, so that was a long time ago. But at that time, I knew that the pod leader role was something that is what I want to do, and that is what I'm doing right now. So it's really fun. And just apart from that, I really love playing the drums and listening to music. So the first time that I was an MLH fellow, I really looked forward to attending my meetings, and that was only because of my pod leader. Shout out to Gabriel for that. And I think my pod leader was such an enthusiastic person, and like he made the meetings so interesting that I really liked the way that he was able to handle the meetings. And that is something that I always wanted to do, because I personally found myself to be very shy and like very introverted. So I knew that something like this would be a perfect opportunity for me to like understand how talking to people actually works, and just let myself out without actually thinking a lot. So at that time, I was really excited about the pod leader role, because I also love meeting new people and seeing new faces. So that was another reason. And then I heard about the role from Gabriel himself, who was my pod leader, and like he guided me how I can apply it and what the process is like. So I think he helped me a lot in that sense. And I applied a few times at that time, but I couldn't get selected, I guess, because the batch was filled out. The pod leader's role was filled out. But then I applied again this year, and I got selected, and it's been a great journey, and like exactly what I've been expecting. So a typical day basically mainly involves a lot of management work. So like behind the scenes, when we have a meeting, I have to prepare for a meeting with the maintainers, or if it's a stand-up, I have to make sure that I post the thread where everyone has to post their stand-up. And I'm also posting my stand-up so that, the fellows can like see me as an example that even I'm posting a stand-up note. So they should be also doing it in a good way. So typically it's just like talking to a lot of people, sometimes talking to new people as well. And a lot of internal communication is constantly going on, whether it's on Slack with the MLH team or between the fellows and me. So there's a lot of communication going on. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how my day goes as a pod leader. So I would say it comes with a lot of challenges, even though it might seem that we're just running meetings and we're just like talking to fellows, but it actually comes with a lot of challenges. So I think firstly, time zones is the biggest challenge, I would say, because like we have people from all over the world in the fellowship, and not just the fellows, even the maintainers or other team members within the MLH team, they're all from all around the world. So like managing time zones and like constantly checking what the time that they proposed is in my time zone, and like collaborating with people from different countries, finding a time that's common for us. That's a challenge, I would say. And apart from that, sometimes you have to like have hard conversations with fellows. So it's not always smooth sailing, and it's not always that everyone is able to be on track, because all sort of stuff happens. People have college classes, they have exams coming up, which like very naturally like pushes them off track, and you need to have some conversations with your fellows, which is not always easy. Sometimes you don't want to sound rude, but also want to make your point clear, so that the fellow can progress in the best way possible. So that I feel is a bit of a challenge. So yeah, these are some challenges, I would say. I would just like to say that don't stress out on your life. I mean, if you are in the fellowship, you're already doing great. And I would just request you to like not really stress out on things really a lot, because things keep changing very quickly, and you never know if you are unhappy about something, something much better might happen very soon just because of that.
Thanks for sharing, really appreciate it. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight on what the pod leader role is like, and if you're interested in applying, we'll be opening applications next year for the role. So if you're curious about getting involved and helping give back to the fellowship, keep an eye on the career page, and we'll be emailing everyone when we open applications. Now we're going to hear from our last program this summer, the production engineering program we ran with Meta, and hear about what the fellows got up to, what the hell is production engineering, as well as hear from Meta themselves. Let's kick it off with one of our fellows.
Harry, my pod is 22 some 14. I mean, coming from Canada. Before MLH fellowship, I was trying to find internship when I was at school the semester before. Before, I was doing a lot of hackathons. So basically, I was signed in the MLH server, and then I signed in for the MLH newsletter too. So I found the MLH fellowship from here. I was very happy when I was got accepted for the fellowship, because like, oh, I have something to do for the summer at least, and it will be like very intensive to learn everything every day. And I didn't know at that time, but now I know. But like doing a whole project for the whole fellowship, it's like very interesting, and it's presentable in the resume. I feel very happy to meet my pod leader, because he helped me a lot for a lot of stuff and told me how to debug the website that we were working on, and also our mentor, because we could see what is the inside, how a PE is working in the real life, and he told us how he did it and how's his like day in life looks like. My favorite memory would be the hackathon and the CTF. The hackathon was a new experience for me to like work with people that I really didn't know and online. And for me, my hackathon experience was pretty interesting, because like we call each other for about almost every day for like certain hours to work on it, and then explain what we should do, what should work with. And that was very fun. I think the biggest takeaway, it would be all the project interview that we did, because the project interview forced us to study what we learned from the beginning, and how to code Python, Python, how is this very important for the P track, and also Bash. So I think the biggest takeaway is like taking school's courses very seriously to understand what is happening in the P world. After seeing my mentor Hui, I realized that like there's a lot of stuff I still don't know, because when we were doing the mentor office, he was using a lot of terms that I've never seen before, and that I had to Google just to understand what he was saying. But that was very, like, I didn't know that I needed to learn this much to like understand really what is PE. I'm most proud of the project that we did in the MLH fellowship, the whole project of the portfolio site, because we used a lot of tools to make it. And also, I learned how to do scripting with Bash, which I've never done it before. And like I learned also that Linux is very important. So it's not really a waste that I have a Linux computer now. The MLH fellowship prepared me for my next job by doing practice interview. So we did before a practice session with another pod to see like how it's going on, maybe how we can help each other. And then we had like 3 other sessions to practice our practice interview with another person. Example, like pod leaders or mentors, which was very helpful because like they could tell us what we can do better and what we can learn more for next interview.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to hear a little bit from your pod leader in just a little while, so stay tuned for that. Let's hear from someone in a different pod now. We're going to hear from Emily.
I'm from pod 22.some.20, and I'm from Toronto. Well, before the MLH fellowship, I was studying software engineering at Ontario Tech. I just finished my 3rd year of the program. So I found out about the MLH fellowship fairly last minute. They were sending out emails saying, hey, you should have a look at this program. It's like an internship alternative. And I saw the email and thought, oh, well, I don't have an internship. So I applied. I applied for the MLH fellowship because I saw that I could learn some important skills to advance my career, because so far my internships have been limited to sort of pretty narrow field of work. So the MLH fellowship allowed me an opportunity to sort of learn some new skills and move laterally in my career, so I'm not stuck to one thing for a while. Getting accepted felt great because I was very nervous about not being accepted, because I was nervous about like the project I had to talk through with the interviewer. But in the end, when I got that acceptance email, I was very proud and very excited to be accepted. For me, one of the biggest challenges I faced during the fellowship was balancing the work with sort of my personal life. I have a very big family, and I do a lot to help out. But what enabled me to sort of work through these challenges was sort of like flexible, like learn on your own time pace, where I was able to dedicate time to it whenever I wanted throughout the week. So that enabled me to sort of like stay on top of things as it went on and be there for my family. My favorite part of the fellowship is the CTF. It's going on right now, and I'm just having an awesome time working through these problems, meeting new people, working with my team. It's just a blast. So I think for me, the most important skills that I learned during the fellowship is, first of all, the skill of deploying and managing an application, because until now, I'd had courses at school that taught me to, write and deploy applications separately, but I've never sort of put the process together end to end. So all of those skills that I picked up allowed me to do that and will make me more confident in building and deploying applications in the future. And additionally, it helped me a lot in sort of managing time, because when you have a project like this and you have to be completing these assignments like weekly on deadline, this really helped me sort of like learn to prioritize better and get the work done. My most favorite memory from the fellowship is doing the CTF. Specifically when me or one of my teammates solves a problem, it's always this awesome feeling of either having gotten to solve it or seeing the solution that my teammate did that was way off from what I was doing, and thinking, oh, how did I miss that? Or and really being sort of like proud of ourselves and proud of each other. I made a lot of new friends during the fellowship, and the awesome part about the fellowship is that you get to meet people from all around the world. So I'm from Canada, and I had pod mates from the United States and Mexico, and my pod leader was from India even. So it was really cool getting to sort of talk to all these people and knowing their unique perspectives and sort of where they are in life. I'm most proud of honestly having finally finished a project end to end, and being able to have said that, hey, I made this thing, because as side projects usually go, you start one, kind of drop it, pick it up on the side. And I've never really like built and deployed a side project end to end. So I think it's awesome that the MLH fellowship taught me how to do that. And I was able to build and deploy a complete web application. For me, one of the number one things that the MLH Fellowship has prepared me for is not even necessarily the technical skills, but it's the interviewing and having those mock interviews, especially ones with an actual meta engineer, were incredibly helpful in preparing me because they helped teach me the skills I need to interview correctly, and additionally helped eliminate a lot of the anxiety I had about interviewing, and sort of showed me that I could be successful in interviews and gave me the tools to do so.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Emily. That was really, really cool to hear. Now, you mentioned the CTF. For some reason, everyone keeps going on about the CTF. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it will make more sense in a bit. However, speaking of the CTF, let's hear from Wei, one of our pod leaders, on his experience helping run the production engineering program, as well as leading one of the pods. Let's hear from Wei.
Hi, graduates. I'm Wei, a pod leader for the production engineering track here at the MLH Fellowship. On behalf of all the PE pod leaders, I want to thank you for being a part of our community this summer. I remember just 3 months ago, many of you have joined the program without knowing what a production engineer is or does. But nonetheless, you trusted us and chose to be a part of the program. Now, 3 months later, you not only know what a production engineer is, you also got to meet all these like-minded podmates. You gained hands-on experience across PE disciplines. You learned from our amazing mentors throughout the program. And lastly, you worked extremely hard to complete all the learnings and exercises we threw at you. During the last few weeks, you prepared and attended not one, not two, but 3 mock interviews. The sheer amount of knowledge and experience you have gained and retained amazes me. I am so proud of you. If you ask me what is my favorite part of the job, without a doubt, it is helping all of you level up, excel, and kickstart your careers. All right. Oh, wait. The flag. Yeah, someone asking about the CTF flag. Yeah, about that. I forgot what I put, but I did mail a copy to Will last week. I hope it gets to UK in time. Who knows? Will, could you please check your mailbox for me? Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Well, anyways, it was my pleasure to work with all of you during the last 12 weeks. Let's stay connected, and I can't wait to see all the great things you'll be doing in the future. Congratulations, and ciao for now.
Thanks, Wei. I had a look in my mail, but all I found was this, and all it says is this. I'm not sure that's not overly helpful. I'll keep looking, but in the meantime, let's hear from another fellow.
Scott, I'm from Pod 22 some 20, and I'm from New York. So before the fellowship, I was still in my track season actually. Yeah, I was competing at nationals and really just enjoying the summer and relaxing. But I found out about the fellowship through my teacher actually. Yeah, one of my computer science professors recommended that I should apply to this fellowship. And originally, honestly, I wasn't planning to do anything for the summer. I was just really just gonna work and relax. But I just took a leap of faith and applied, and now I'm here. The reason I applied was really to honestly get a head start, and also it was a new experience. I love I guess doing new things and new experiences. So I wanted to get exposed to also, yeah, the field of production engineering. It was a field I'd never heard of, and just looking at what the fellowship offered, I feel like it is a really good opportunity for students to gain skills necessary, in-demand skills for the industry. And yeah, it's a good experience, especially to learn from and be exposed to. So the biggest challenge for me was really that transition from, a a university education to something like this, you tend not to cover topics that are covered like in a program like this. So all the stuff that we cover, such as testing, monitoring, databases, scripting, and continuous integration, like those aren't stuff that I've covered yet because I've only finished my first year of college. So yeah, I think that was like my biggest challenge. But to overcome that challenge, I just worked with my mentors and also my pod leader and even the students in my pod. It was like a collab. It was almost like a collaboration to help each other succeed. So yeah, pretty much. So I would say my biggest takeaway was, you know, I would say like there's a solution to everything because and also like networking too. Like I always try to build relationships like wherever I go. So I was doing that throughout this fellowship, and with what I said to like, there's a solution to everything. Some weeks, in terms of like the exercises were like they were kind of difficult, and you kind of get that feeling that you want to give up, but it's like no, there's like we have so many resources, and also just like your own knowledge, like there's always a solution. So yeah, whether that's like asking people in the production engineering channel or your fellow pod members, like there's always a way. So yeah, I once I got the opportunity, I made a promise to myself to make the most of it, and that's what I've been trying to do with this whole program. So yeah, I'm grateful.
Thanks for sharing. I must say, watching you all help each other, like Ethan just mentioned, especially in the production engineering channel on Discord, is really powerful. And just because the program ends doesn't mean you should stop supporting each other, and it doesn't mean you should stop learning. This is just the start of your journey with production engineering, and you should totally keep building more and exploring more paths as you go. Now, I had a look at my mail while we were listening to Ethan share his experiences, and I found a couple things, but I'm not really sure if they're the right thing. I found this. Not really sure that's very helpful. I also found this. Also, not very helpful. I've got... Hang on a minute. What about this one? I think it's time to hear from another fellow.
My pod is 22 some 14. I mean, coming from Canada.
It would help if we listened to the right fellow. Let's try that one more time.
My name is Lydia. I'm from pod 22 some 14, and I'm based out of Hamilton, Ontario. Before I started the fellowship, I was and still am. I was just working at my university. I am working in the outreach department of the engineering faculty. So I do a lot of project development for high school students. I create a lot of introductory software courses, and I also deliver them as well. So I do that like a decent amount of time during the week, but I was doing it more intensely before the fellowship. Honestly, I actually heard about it way back in like 2020, which is when I think the first batch was. I was in my first year of university. So I was looking for internships, and I would always go to hackathons. So I was on the mailing list, and I'm pretty sure I just got an email from MLH advertising the fellowship. And I'll be honest, I didn't apply because I did not think I had a chance of getting in. I was really like intimidated, and I would read like Medium articles, and people would say, oh, it's like a 1% acceptance rate. And I was like, well, I don't think I can do that. But this round, the reason I applied was because for the production engineering track specifically, I got an email saying like there are still spots available, and it was like in May, and I was like, maybe I should apply because why not? And so one day I just decided to fill the application form, figuring like if I don't get it, that's okay. I can still do side projects, but I did, and I'm happy to be here now. I wanted something similar to an internship, but that had a lot of emphasis on education, because I was not always interested in software engineering and computer science. It's actually very recent. I spent my whole high school being very passionate, and I loved learning, but I was more interested in like medicine and studying biology. And that recently changed, but I always felt like I was behind because I never joined any clubs in high school. I learned coding the first time in university, not, when I was like 10 years old. And so I really wanted a program where I could put what I think are good analytical skills and good, learning skills that I have to use, but at the same time get the education that I felt like I was lacking. Oh, honestly, I was so happy. I was eating breakfast. We went up to brunch with my parents, and I actually got like the form before I got the email that says you're going to be a fellow, like the form that I have to sign. And I was like, what is this? I was so confused. And then I showed it to my mom. She's like, no, like you're in, dummy, you're in. I was like, oh my God. I'd say some of the challenges I faced were, at first I really lacked the skill of solving problems by myself. So I was talking to my pod leader about this actually. One thing that I really struggled with was whenever I would get blocked on an issue, I would Google it. But if I didn't get something that was like the exact same issue, I would have a hard time extrapolating how to solve my problem based off of like, say, someone else's Stack Overflow question that wasn't exactly the same, but they were tangentially related. I honestly found a very big passion for production engineering, which I didn't know was a thing before. I had heard the term DevOps thrown around. You see it in like all the applications, but I'm like, what is DevOps? I don't get it. And as I've learned more and more about it, I've started to realize that DevOps is like more of a philosophy than anything. And it's a way of doing things that is becoming more and more recognized in industry because of how effective it is and how it makes our lives easier. So I've become very passionate about that because I realized that I enjoy the work I do in troubleshooting and in scaling and monitoring a lot more than I had maybe enjoyed some of the, just like front end, which is like pretty much the only thing I had experience with before. Okay, I think my biggest takeaway from the fellowship is to work smarter, not harder, which I know is a cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason. I think it's something I learned because I realized that when I would just focus in on a problem and truly walk through it step by step, I was actually smarter than I gave myself credit for. Sometimes I would think, oh, well, I'm stupid. Why can't I figure this out? But it's because I'm trying to do a billion things at the same time. I was trying to rush through it. I want to get 5 leak code problems done today, and I'm doing them in an hour. Obviously, I'm not going to get them done, or I'm not going to get them done by myself. So I realized through the fellowship, whenever I would sit down and there was a problem that I didn't get, and I would focus and I would Google and I would write things down, put all the pieces together, I would eventually figure it out. Or at the very, very least, I would come up with an intelligent question that once given the answer to, I could figure it out.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lydia. That was incredible to hear. And it's awesome to hear how people like you can find our community and get involved. It's amazing to hear how, you didn't even know what production engineering or DevOps was. And now you're, experienced and able to build real things with it. Thanks for sharing. I had another look for the flag. It's not looking too hopeful. I just have all of these bits of paper. I'm not really sure what to do with them. I'll keep looking, but let's hear from our final fellow of the day, and then we'll go from there. All right, enjoy.
I was studying at Stony Brook. I found out the fellowship by actually just like Googling. I was just looking up what to do over summer, looking up summer opportunities, and I found the fellowship that way. I applied to all 3 programs, the open source program, the production engineering program, and the software engineering program. And I was accepted into the production engineering program, and I was really excited because I really wanted to get into the program to like improve my skills and have something good to do over the summer. Well, one of the challenges that I faced, I would say, is communication, because have not met the other fellows before. The most enjoyable part about the fellowship, in my opinion, is the weekly CI sessions. I learn a lot in the sessions, and I also like the challenges. It helps me prepare for technical interviews. The top 3 technical skills that I learned during the fellowship, I would say, is Docker, Flask, and writing unit tests. And the top 3 non-technical skills that I learned, I would say, is teamwork, communication, and documentation. Oh, my favorite memory from the fellowship is the CTF. Well, this last week is on CTF, and it's been my most enjoyable part. My biggest takeaway, I would say, is definitely all the people that I've met here and all the skills that I picked up along the way during the fellowship. When we first started the fellowship, I thought we were going to have like a rough first week, but it was like really chill, laid back, and I was able to follow through on what's happening and contribute. I was also able to make new friends. I was able to make friends with 2 members from my pod. They were really chill, and yeah, they're nice people to talk to. And my thing that I'm most proud of would be the portfolio side template that I made throughout the fellowship. It looks pretty nice in my opinion. I want to work as a software engineer. Well, I would say maybe the order will go from data engineering to production engineering / SRE to software engineering. And the fellowship definitely helped me gain skills towards production engineering and SRE, and also some software skills from CTCI sessions.
Thanks for sharing. Really inspiring to hear how this has helped you start the next few steps of your career, and I'm looking forward to following along and seeing where you go. Speaking of, if you haven't already, you should totally follow or come and connect with me on LinkedIn so I can keep in track with what's going on with your careers. I love seeing where people end up, especially a year or 2 after the program, because it really helps kickstart your career. So do come and find me on LinkedIn. Now, I think I found the flag. Can people try this one out for me on the CTF platform and let me know if it works? I believe that is what Wei sent me. Let me know if that works. We'll see. In the meantime, Meta themselves would love to share a few words about their experience working with us and what they witnessed seeing all of you do so many cool things in the program. Let's hear it from Peter, who helped with the curriculum.
I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate you on your completion of the MLH Production Engineering Fellowship. I know it's been a very intense 12 weeks, a lot of information, it's taken a lot of time and dedication on your part, so I hope you can take this opportunity to celebrate that achievement. My name's Peter Knowles. I'm a production engineer here at Meta. I've been involved in the fellowship in a few places. You might have seen me present on Bash scripting as well as technical interview best practices. Behind the scenes, I've also been working with the MLH team on the construction of the curriculum that you've been going through the last 12 weeks. As production engineers, we love to learn new things. We love to teach others. It's a big part of the role. It's a very collaborative role. And none of us are done with learning. Myself, I've been a production engineer for 14 years at Meta now. I've worked in a number of teams over that time, the data warehouse as well as video infrastructure, working on Facebook Live, as well as security, network security, metaverse infrastructure. So I'm never done learning. Every day there's something new in the role or some new team and some new technology that I have to learn. And I think that's really representative of the average production engineer. So I just wanted to mention that to highlight how important it is for us in terms of both learning new things as well as teaching others. So we're very passionate about that, and we're very grateful for you for coming along with us on this journey over the last 12 weeks and letting us open up a little bit about our world and our role to you all. I'd also like to thank everyone from the Meta side, so the core team, Andrew, Talia, Aaron, Hong, as well as all the mentors and the mock interviewers, as well as everyone on the MLH side, so Will, John, Alex, Swift, everyone who's helped out build this entire program and helped us explain our world to you all. We hope that you found this information useful and you can carry this forward in your future careers, because this is just the beginning for you. And no matter what you end up doing, we'd love to see you as a future colleague of ours in production engineering or an internship at the company. But no matter what you do, we're hoping that this information will be useful to you and it can be insightful to you in no matter what your career is in future. So congratulations again for completing the fellowship, and I wish you all the best for your future path.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Peter. And like Peter said, we're really excited to see what your next steps are, and also like Meta's working with us because they don't only want to help, you know, create more production engineers at Meta, but just in the industry as a whole, right? Everyone has to start from somewhere, and the fellowship is a fantastic platform to do that. Now, there's one other person we haven't heard from, which is Alex. Now, for those of you who've been in production engineering, you've probably had Alex message you because you forgot to submit something or you needed help rescheduling an interview. But Alex has been constantly chatting with you all in Discord to make sure that everything is lined up and everything is in order. So let's hear what Alex has to say about the MLH Fellowship.
Can you believe that you did it? You officially survived the summer fellowship with Major League Hacking. Over the past 12 weeks, and in what really felt like 12 seconds because it absolutely flew by, you worked on so many cool things and did so many amazing projects. I hope this is just the first step in your careers, and one day you look back and you say the fellowship helped me become a better engineer, a better person, and really open my eyes to what I'm capable of. Good luck with whatever comes next, and just know you're part of the MLH community forever, and we're here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. Can't wait to see what we get up to in the next batch and how Alex can support more of you in the future. Now, apparently that flag I gave you all didn't work. This did not work. So, I had a look in the post and it looks like Royal Mail did get to my door in time. And I also have this. Not sure if that works or not. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, there's one last thing to do before we finish the graduation today, and that is our graduation walk. Now, this is a really cool chance to just sort of, you know, reflect and be proud of yourselves. You've made it. You've completed this 12-week program. You've gone through the challenges. You've had some fun, and at the end of the day, you are, you know, much more experienced, much more confident, and, you know, amazing person in all aspects. Let's check out the class of summer 2022. Wow, that was a lot of people, which I believe makes this one of our largest ever programs ever, which is incredible. I hope you saw yourself up there. If you filled out the form in time, I know some of you did not, unfortunately, but wow is all. I'm speechless. Thank you everybody so much for coming to our graduation. We're going to let you free. You are now, at the next step of your career. Connect with all of us on LinkedIn. We want to know what you're up to. And if we can help you in any way, do let us know. Our doors are always open. And just because this is the end of the program, this is not the end of your journey with Major League Hacking. My name is Will. I'm one of the program managers here at MLH. And this has been the Summer 2022 graduation. Let's watch that graduation walk one last time before we wrap for today. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining me. I do have one last thing to say, which is if you haven't already, you should 100% apply for our full program that starts on September 19th. This will be running for 12 weeks until December, and we're going to be running an SRE program, our open source program, Web3, and loads of other cool stuff as well. The deadline for APAC is already closed, but you will be able to apply soon for our spring program if you're interested in that. But yeah, head over to fellowship.mlh.io/apply to get your application in ASAP. The sooner you do it, the better. But if you want to continue your experience with the fellowship, maybe get some more experience somewhere else, then you should totally go over and do that right away. Anyway, that has been all, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along today. It's been epic, and I will see you all hopefully in the not too distant future. Thanks everybody. Bye.